Prince Harry and Meghan have quietly auctioned access to themselves to the highest bidder. Auction themselves as a way of raising money. It's said that tickets to attend a dinner with the Sussexes go for around £100,000 a plate.
$100,000. That is the staggering price tag now attached to the privilege of sitting across from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex at a charity dinner. And if you think that sounds desperate, sources say the reality is even worse than the headline suggests. The news broke like wildfire across social media this week, leaving royal watchers and critics alike absolutely stunned. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have quietly partnered with Charity Buzz, a fundraising platform typically used by A-list celebrities, to auction off exclusive access to themselves. We are talking £75,000 per plate, roughly $100,000, for the chance to break bread with two people who once claimed they left royal life to escape the spotlight and find peace. The irony is not lost on anyone. This is the same couple who dramatically walked away from Buckingham Palace, citing mental health struggles and media intrusion. The same pair who told Oprah Winfrey they were cut off financially and needed to earn their own money.
So this is deemed to be completely inappropriate. But as they are not working royals, I suppose the rules don't apply to them in this case. But it is still an unseemly amount of money.
Now, insiders claim they have resorted to literally selling themselves to the highest bidder, and the backlash has been nothing short of brutal. Within hours of the story breaking, social media exploded with criticism. One commenter wrote that they would rather watch paint dry than pay that kind of money to sit with Harry and Meghan. Another joked that the Sussexes would have to pay them that amount just to endure an evening of conversation. The phrase "rent a duke" began trending, with critics suggesting this scheme represents a new low even by their standards. But here is where it gets truly interesting. Sources close to the situation reveal that this is not just about raising money for charity. Palace insiders whisper that donations to the Archwell Foundation have plummeted in recent years, forcing the couple to explore increasingly creative ways to stay financially afloat. And critics are now questioning exactly where this money actually goes. Some suggest that a significant portion of any donation could be funneled toward operational expenses rather than charitable causes, effectively creating an income stream disguised as philanthropy. The timing could not be more suspicious.
And talking about the family, well, that was blown apart by the news about her father, and more importantly, Harry has no relationship with his family. So they are the couple who should not be telling us about having a family.
This revelation comes just as reports surface about major restructuring within Archwell, with sources indicating staff changes and a complete rebranding effort underway. The foundation is being renamed Archwell Philanthropies, a move that some believe is designed to distance the couple from years of negative headlines and failed ventures. And then there is the question nobody in the Sussex camp wants to answer. Does this pay-to-meet scheme violate the very agreement Harry and Meghan signed when they walked away from royal duties? The Sandringham Agreement, negotiated with the late Queen Elizabeth herself, contained specific provisions about monetizing their royal connection. Critics are now demanding answers, and sources say Prince William is absolutely furious, but the dinner scandal is only the beginning of this story. What insiders are revealing about the true state of the Archwell Foundation will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Harry and Meghan's charitable empire. So how exactly does this pay-to-meet scheme work? According to sources familiar with the arrangement, the experience is far less glamorous than that hefty price tag might suggest, and the details emerging are raising serious eyebrows among charity watchdogs and royal commentators alike. Reports indicate that wealthy donors who fork over $100,000 do not simply get to enjoy a leisurely evening with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Instead, insiders claim the entire experience is carefully curated and tightly controlled. The guest list is allegedly hand-picked, ensuring that nobody at the table will ask uncomfortable questions or bring up topics the Sussexes would rather avoid. Think of it as dinner theater where the script has already been written and any deviation is strictly forbidden. Even more telling is what sources describe as the limited engagement window. Harry and Meghan reportedly do not stay for the entire meal. Instead, they allegedly make an appearance, deliver their prepared remarks, pose for carefully controlled photographs, and then vanish before the dessert course arrives.
Yes, it's designed to raise money for philanthropic, I can't say the word, anyway, for charitable causes.
I can't say that word at philanthropy. I can't say it either. I'm going to make you feel a lot better.
One insider described it as paying champagne prices for a sparkling water experience. You get the label, but the substance is seriously lacking. And then there is the matter of where exactly that $100,000 actually goes. Charity Buzz confirms that funds raised through their platform benefit designated charitable organizations. In this case, that organization is Archwell, Harry and Meghan's own foundation. But critics have long questioned the operational structure of Archwell, pointing out that a significant percentage of donations can legally be allocated toward administrative expenses, staff salaries, and operational costs rather than direct charitable grants. This is where the comparisons to Sarah Ferguson become impossible to ignore. Back in 2010, the Duchess of York was caught on hidden camera allegedly offering access to Prince Andrew in exchange for £500,000. The scandal nearly destroyed her reputation and sent shockwaves through the royal establishment. Fergie was selling access to a working royal who held actual diplomatic connections and business relationships. Critics are now asking what exactly Harry and Meghan are offering that justifies an even higher price tag, given that they hold no official royal positions and wield no institutional influence whatsoever. The answer, according to royal expert commentators, is simple. They are selling the fantasy of proximity to royalty without any of the actual substance. One prominent voice described it as paying for the privilege of sitting next to someone who will spend the evening telling you how victimized they are while asking if you might be interested in investing in a jam company. A spokesperson for Archwell confirmed the partnership with Charity Buzz, stating they have worked with numerous fundraising partners over the years. The statement offered no details about how many dinners have taken place or how much money has actually been raised. That silence speaks volumes to critics who believe transparency has never been the Sussex strong suit. But the financial pressures driving this desperate gambit run far deeper than anyone initially realized, and what the tax filings reveal about Archwell's collapsing donor base is genuinely shocking. The numbers do not lie, and when you examine the financial trajectory of the Archwell Foundation, a deeply troubling picture begins to emerge, one that helps explain exactly why Harry and Meghan have resorted to auctioning themselves off like items at a charity gala. Back in 2021, when the couple was still riding the wave of their bombshell Oprah interview and highly publicized exit from royal life, Archwell received approximately $13 million in charitable contributions. The foundation seemed positioned to become a legitimate philanthropic powerhouse, with major anonymous donors lining up to support the Sussex cause. The future looked bright, and Harry and Meghan appeared poised to prove their critics wrong. Then came 2022, and everything changed. Tax filings revealed that donations to Archwell had plummeted to just over $2 million. That represents an $11 million collapse in a single year, an 85% drop that charity experts described as a staggering financial cliff rather than a gradual decline. The foundation's expenses exceeded its revenue, leaving Archwell more than $670,000 in the red. Charity watchdog organizations began raising serious concerns. Charity Watch pointed out that Archwell's board consists of only 2 members, Harry and Meghan themselves. Best practices in the nonprofit sector recommend a minimum of 5 to 7 board members to ensure proper governance and oversight. The lack of independent voices raised questions about accountability and financial management that the foundation has never adequately addressed.
I can tell you one thing for sure. When his brother becomes king, he won't be able to ingratiate himself at all, because William he attaches real value to what he sees as the history of the royal family and how one should be behaving, doesn't he?
Then came the delinquency scandal that made international headlines. In May 2024, California's Registry of Charities and Fundraisers declared Archwell delinquent for failing to submit required annual reports and renewal fees. The foundation was temporarily barred from raising or spending money, a humiliating development for a couple who constantly lectures others about charitable responsibility. The Sussexes blamed the situation on a lost check, claiming their payment had gone missing in the mail. Critics found this explanation difficult to swallow, given that the foundation employs multiple staff members including an executive director, earning a salary reportedly exceeding $277,000 annually. How does an organization with that level of professional management lose track of essential regulatory paperwork? The delinquency status was eventually resolved, but the reputational damage lingered. Donors who might have considered supporting Archwell began asking hard questions about competence and organizational capacity. If Harry and Meghan cannot manage basic administrative requirements, how can anyone trust them with significant charitable contributions? Sources now suggest that the financial pressure has become unbearable. The couple's Netflix deal is reportedly ending this year, and their other content ventures have largely flopped. The Polo documentary and Invictus Games coverage failed to generate significant buzz. Meghan's cooking show received mixed reviews at best. The income streams that once seemed endless are drying up faster than anyone anticipated. And that desperation, insiders say, is exactly what drove them toward this pay-to-meet scheme. But the public reaction has been far more savage than they ever expected. The internet can be a brutally unforgiving place, and when news of Harry and Meghan's pay-to-meet scheme hit social media, the response was nothing short of savage. Within hours, the couple found themselves trending for all the wrong reasons, with critics lining up to deliver their harshest verdicts yet. One viral post summed up the prevailing sentiment perfectly. The user wrote that they would rather set $100,000 on fire than spend an evening listening to Meghan discuss her struggles while Harry complains about not receiving enough sausages at breakfast. The reference to that infamous passage from Spare, where Harry lamented his brother receiving a larger portion, has become a symbol of just how out of touch the prince has become. The phrase "rent a duke" began circulating almost immediately, with commentators drawing uncomfortable parallels to the couple's earlier protestations about privacy and dignity. These are the same people, critics pointed out, who claimed they fled royal life because they could not bear the constant scrutiny and commodification. Now they are literally putting themselves up for auction to the highest bidder. The hypocrisy writes itself. Reddit threads exploded with scathing commentary. One highly upvoted post described the scheme as pathetic, arguing that the Sussexes should be ashamed of themselves for disguising a personal income stream as charitable fundraising. Another user questioned who would actually pay that kind of money to sit with two of the most polarizing figures in modern celebrity culture, people widely regarded as professional complainers who offer nothing of substance in return. Royal commentators joined the pile-on with equal enthusiasm. One prominent voice described the situation as a new low even by Sussex standards, suggesting that Harry has fully embraced his transformation into a rent-a-prince willing to sell his presence to anyone with deep enough pockets. The comparison to his bizarre appearance at a no-cameras real estate seminar in Canada only reinforced the narrative of a man desperately chasing paychecks wherever he can find them. Television panelists were equally unsparing. One broadcaster declared that the couple has finally confirmed what critics have suspected all along. Everything is for sale. Their trauma, their royal connections, their manufactured authenticity, all of it comes with a price tag attached. The days of pretending this was ever about privacy or mental health are officially over. Perhaps most damaging were the comparisons to how other celebrities use charity buzz. The platform has facilitated fundraising events with genuine A-listers like George Clooney, Beyoncé, and Sir Paul McCartney. These are individuals with actual artistic accomplishments and cultural relevance. Harry and Meghan, critics argued, are famous primarily for complaining about a family that made them famous in the first place. What exactly are donors paying for beyond proximity to grievance? The viral backlash has clearly rattled the Sussex camp. But the legal and ethical questions swirling around this scheme pose an even greater threat to their already tattered reputation. And the Sandringham Agreement may hold the key to everything. The Sandringham Agreement. Those three words have haunted Harry and Meghan ever since that fateful January 2020 meeting, where their royal future was decided once and for all. And now critics are asking whether this pay-to-meet scheme represents a direct violation of the terms they personally agreed to with the late Queen Elizabeth herself. The summit was convened after Harry and Meghan blindsided the royal family with their Instagram announcement declaring their intention to step back as senior royals, while somehow maintaining all the benefits of their position. The Queen, Prince Charles, and Prince William gathered at Sandringham House to hash out the terms of their departure. Meghan notably did not attend, remaining in Canada while Harry faced his family alone. The resulting agreement was explicit on several key points. Harry and Meghan would retain their Duke and Duchess titles, but would no longer use their HRH designations. They would no longer receive public funding. And crucially, they would not monetize their royal connection for commercial purposes. The couple publicly accepted these terms, with Buckingham Palace issuing a statement confirming the arrangement. Fast forward to today, and critics argue the Sussexes have repeatedly trampled all over that agreement. The Netflix documentary traded extensively on their royal status. The memoir Spare revealed intimate details of palace life for profit. And now this charity dinner scheme essentially sells access to royalty, even if Harry and Meghan are no longer working members of the institution. Royal commentators have drawn explicit comparisons to why Sarah Ferguson faced such severe consequences for her own access scandal. The key difference, they note, is that Fergie was selling access to Prince Andrew, who at the time held actual diplomatic and business connections. Harry and Meghan offer nothing comparable. They are monetizing the residue of royal glamour without providing any institutional substance whatsoever. The controversy deepened recently when it emerged that Meghan has been using her HRH title despite the explicit agreement not to do so. A gift basket sent to a friend was photographed bearing a note signed, "With compliments of HRH, the Duchess of Sussex." The image went viral, with critics accusing Meghan of brazenly violating her promise to the late Queen. Sources close to Prince William suggest he is absolutely livid about the continued breaches. One insider claimed there is no way King William will stand for this behavior when he eventually ascends to the throne. The titles will simply be removed. The relationship between the brothers, already fractured beyond repair according to most accounts, has deteriorated even further over these repeated provocations. Legal experts note that removing royal titles would require an act of parliament, making it complicated but not impossible. A removal of titles bill was actually introduced in 2022, suggesting there is political appetite for addressing exactly this kind of situation. But while Harry and Meghan face mounting criticism, the contrast with William and Catherine could not be more stark. And their recent public appearances have only highlighted just how far the Sussexes have fallen. The timing could not have been more brutal. Just as news of Harry and Meghan's pay-to-meet scandal was exploding across social media, the Prince and Princess of Wales released their annual Christmas card. And the contrast between the two couples has left even casual observers shaking their heads in disbelief. The photograph shows William, Catherine, and their 3 children in the Norfolk countryside, casual and relaxed, radiating the kind of genuine warmth that no amount of professional staging can manufacture. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis are pictured smiling alongside their parents, a portrait of family unity that speaks volumes without saying a single word. There are no photographers demanding six-figure fees to capture this moment, no carefully curated access points, just a happy family doing their duty while actually appearing to enjoy it. Royal commentators were quick to highlight the disparity. One prominent voice noted that this is what authentic royal service looks like. William and Catherine show up week after week, supporting countless charitable causes without demanding payment or auctioning themselves to wealthy donors. They understand that privilege comes with responsibility, not a price tag. The numbers tell their own story. Analysis of royal engagements reveals that working members of the family maintain punishing schedules of official duties. Princess Anne completed over 450 engagements in 2023 alone. King Charles managed over 400 despite his age and health challenges. Prince William and Catherine maintained rigorous calendars even as Catherine faced her own health battles this year. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan's public appearances remain sporadic and almost always tied to commercial ventures or media opportunities. Their charitable work, such as it is, generates headlines primarily for the controversy it creates rather than the good it accomplishes. The Sussex brand has become synonymous with grievance and monetization rather than genuine service. One television commentator put it bluntly during a recent panel discussion: "When you think of Harry and Meghan, you do not immediately associate them with charity efforts anymore. You associate them with the Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, that South Park episode that mocked them mercilessly. The constant complaining. People hesitate to invest in the Sussexes, while their brand continues to appear so toxic." The Christmas card controversy extended beyond mere optics. Observers noted that while William and Catherine proudly share images of their children as part of their public duty, Harry and Meghan have kept Archie and Lilibet almost completely hidden from view. There is something deeply ironic, critics suggest, about a couple who demands privacy for their children while simultaneously selling access to themselves for $100,000 per dinner guest. Sources suggest that Harry has privately expressed a desire to reconcile with his family, particularly his ailing father, King Charles. But every new scandal, every fresh controversy, every desperate money grab only widens the chasm between them. And Harry's recent solo ventures have done absolutely nothing to rehabilitate his image. If anything, his rent-a-prince behavior has made everything considerably worse. Prince Harry once stood on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, a beloved figure representing everything the British public cherished about their royal family. Today, insiders say he has been reduced to a traveling salesman hawking his presence to whoever will pay the asking price. And the trajectory of his solo appearances tells a deeply unflattering story. Consider the bizarre spectacle that unfolded in Canada just weeks ago. Harry reportedly appeared at a real estate seminar, of all things, delivering remarks to an audience of property developers under strict no-cameras conditions. The secrecy surrounding the event only fueled speculation about exactly what a former prince was doing addressing realtors in the first place. Sources suggested Harry was paid handsomely for his appearance, though neither his team nor the event organizers would confirm the figure. The rent-a-prince label, once used mockingly by critics, has now become an uncomfortably accurate description of Harry's professional life. He pops up at corporate events, delivers speeches heavy on emotional vulnerability and light on substantive content, collects his check and disappears. The man who once dedicated himself to causes like the Invictus Games and mental health advocacy has seemingly pivoted to chasing whatever paycheck lands in front of him. His appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert only reinforced this perception. Harry sat for yet another interview discussing his feelings, his family trauma, and his complicated relationship with his father and brother. Critics noted that he has now told essentially the same story dozens of times across multiple platforms, each time extracting payment for recycling the same grievances. The emotional well, it seems, never runs dry as long as someone is willing to pay for another drink. Perhaps most telling was the response to Harry's announcement that he was pledging £1 million to the Wellchild charity during his recent London visit. The gesture was meant to showcase his continued commitment to causes he championed during his royal life. Instead, it landed with a deafening thud. Virtually no one outside dedicated royal watchers even noticed. The announcement generated no significant media coverage, no public groundswell of appreciation, no rehabilitation of his battered image. One commentator observed that unless channels like this one mention it, nobody would even remember it happened. The pledge came and went without creating so much as a ripple. That is how far Harry's star has fallen. Even genuine charitable gestures now disappear into the void, overshadowed by the constant drumbeat of controversy and perceived money grubbing. The contrast with his former life could not be more painful. As a working royal, Harry's charitable endeavors commanded global attention. His advocacy moved the needle on issues like mental health awareness and support for wounded veterans. People listened because he spoke from a position of institutional authority and genuine credibility. Now he speaks from a position of perceived desperation, and audiences have largely stopped listening. But perhaps the greatest irony of this entire pay-to-meet scandal involves the one thing Harry has complained about more than anything else: his precious security concerns. For years, Prince Harry has waged a very public battle over security. He has filed lawsuits against the British government demanding police protection. He has spoken emotionally about fearing for his family's safety. He has cited security concerns as justification for everything from skipping royal events to demanding special treatment wherever he travels. The issue has become central to his entire public persona. So how exactly does auctioning access to yourself for $100,000 per plate square, with those constant warnings about dangerous threats lurking around every corner? Critics have seized on this glaring contradiction with particular enthusiasm. One commentator noted that Harry spends years telling us he cannot safely return to Britain because shadowy figures want to harm him. Then he announces that literally anyone with enough money can purchase a seat at his dinner table. The cognitive dissonance is absolutely staggering. The security implications of the pay-to-meet scheme are genuinely concerning when examined closely. While Charity Buzz presumably conducts some level of vetting on potential bidders, the reality is that wealthy individuals with questionable intentions could potentially slip through the cracks. Background checks only reveal so much. Someone determined to get close to Harry and Meghan could easily present a clean enough profile to pass initial scrutiny. And what about the donors themselves? Who exactly is paying $100,000 for dinner with the Sussexes? The arrangement is reportedly not advertised publicly on the Charity Buzz website, suggesting it may be offered privately to high rollers who have previously participated in similar celebrity auctions. That level of secrecy raises its own uncomfortable questions about transparency and accountability. Royal security experts have expressed bewilderment at the arrangement. One former protection officer noted that selling access to yourself fundamentally undermines every security protocol that exists to keep high-profile individuals safe. You are essentially inviting unknown quantities into your personal space in exchange for money. It contradicts everything Harry has publicly claimed to care about regarding his family's safety. The hypocrisy extends further when you consider the legal battles Harry continues to wage. His ongoing judicial review regarding police protection in Britain remains unresolved. He has argued repeatedly that he faces unique threats that justify extraordinary security measures at public expense. Meanwhile, he opens his doors to anyone willing to write a large enough check. Sources suggest that palace officials have watched this contradiction unfold with a mixture of disbelief and vindication. Harry's security complaints were always viewed skeptically by some within royal circles. This latest development, they argue, proves that his concerns were never really about safety at all. They were about leverage, control, and extracting maximum value from his royal connection. The timing of all this chaos coincides with major changes happening behind the scenes at Archwell. The foundation is undergoing a complete transformation, and insiders are whispering that the restructuring reveals just how desperate things have become for the Sussex operation. Something significant is happening behind the closed doors of the Archwell Foundation, and the timing, coming just as the pay-to-meet scandal dominates headlines, suggests the Sussexes are scrambling to control a narrative that has spiraled far beyond their grasp. Just hours after news broke about the charity dinner scheme, Archwell announced a major rebranding effort. The foundation will now operate under the name Archwell Philanthropies, a change that public relations experts say is designed to signal maturity, scale, and longevity. But critics see something else entirely. They see damage control for a sinking ship desperately seeking a lifeboat. A spokesperson for the organization confirmed that exciting developments regarding how they will deliver philanthropic work moving forward would be shared in due course. The vague language and lack of specifics only fueled speculation that the foundation is in serious trouble. When organizations start promising exciting changes without providing concrete details, insiders know trouble is usually brewing beneath the surface. Reports indicate that staff restructuring is also underway. Personnel changes at any nonprofit can signal healthy evolution, but they can also indicate turmoil, disagreement about direction, or financial pressures forcing difficult decisions. Given Archwell's well-documented struggles with donations and its embarrassing delinquency scandal, the latter interpretation seems far more plausible. The shift from foundation to philanthropies carries interesting implications. PR expert Maya Reyes noted that the name change positions Archwell as something that could potentially stand on its own, even without Harry and Meghan's names being front and center. That observation raises eyebrows. Are the Sussexes preparing to distance themselves from their own charitable vehicle? Are they laying groundwork for an exit strategy if things continue deteriorating? The rebranding also conveniently shifts focus away from Harry and Meghan as personalities and toward abstract concepts like impact, outcomes, and credibility. Those are precisely the areas where the foundation has faced the harshest criticism. By removing themselves from the spotlight, at least nominally, they may hope to deflect attention from their personal controversies and toward whatever charitable work actually gets accomplished. But here is what the restructuring cannot hide. The fundamental problems plaguing Archwell remain unresolved. Donations have collapsed. Governance questions persist. The delinquency scandal damaged their credibility with regulatory authorities, and now this pay-to-meet scheme has thrust them back into the worst kind of spotlight imaginable. Sources close to the situation suggest the couple is genuinely rattled by the intensity of the backlash. They reportedly believed the charity dinner arrangement would generate positive coverage, positioning them as generous philanthropists willing to share their time with wealthy supporters of good causes. Instead, they have been savaged as desperate grifters selling access to royal adjacency. The Archwell Philanthropies rebrand was supposed to herald a new chapter. Instead, it has been completely overshadowed by accusations of greed, hypocrisy, and the exploitation of titles they promised never to monetize. And as the dust settles on this latest debacle, the bigger question looms larger than ever. What exactly does the future hold for Harry and Meghan? So where does this leave the Duke and Duchess of Sussex? As the viral backlash continues spreading across social media and the pay-to-meet scandal dominates royal coverage, insiders are asking whether Harry and Meghan have finally reached a point of no return. The harsh reality is that every avenue they have pursued since leaving royal life has either collapsed or generated overwhelming negative publicity. Their Spotify deal ended after producing just one podcast series. Their Netflix arrangement is reportedly winding down, with recent projects failing to capture audience interest. Meghan's lifestyle ventures have been met with mockery rather than enthusiasm, and now their charitable foundation has become synonymous with controversy rather than genuine philanthropy. The question on everyone's mind is brutally simple. Who exactly is going to pay $100,000 for dinner with these two? The scheme relies on wealthy donors believing that proximity to Harry and Meghan carries value. But what value do they actually offer? They hold no official positions. They wield no institutional influence. They cannot open doors to royal circles because those doors have been firmly shut against them. All they can provide is the opportunity to sit across from two people who will likely spend the evening discussing their victimhood. Sources suggest that Hollywood has grown increasingly wary of the Sussex brand. The couple arrived in California with enormous fanfare, promising content that would revolutionize streaming platforms. Instead, they delivered grievance after grievance, recycling the same family trauma across multiple projects until audiences simply tuned out. The entertainment industry rewards fresh ideas and genuine talent. Complaining about your relatives only holds attention for so long. Meanwhile, the royal family carries on without them. King Charles continues his duties despite health challenges. Prince William and Catherine project stability and genuine public service. The institution that Harry and Meghan claimed was crumbling without them appears to be thriving in their absence. The contrast could not be more damaging to the Sussex narrative. Perhaps most painful for Harry is the complete breakdown of his relationship with his brother. Sources indicate the princes have not spoken meaningfully in years. Every new controversy, every fresh interview rehashing old wounds, every desperate money grab only drives the wedge deeper. Reconciliation, if it was ever possible, now seems like a fantasy. And then there is King Charles, battling his own health issues while watching his youngest son auction himself off to strangers for charity donations. The sadness emanating from palace sources is palpable. This is not the life anyone envisioned for the once beloved prince who captured hearts around the world. The pay-to-meet scandal may fade from headlines eventually. Another controversy will inevitably take its place, but the fundamental trajectory remains unchanged. Harry and Meghan are running out of options, running out of allies, and running out of goodwill. The question is no longer whether their brand can be salvaged. The question is how much further they have left to fall. So tell me, would you pay $100,000 for dinner with Harry and Meghan? Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you will not believe what is coming next.